What's going on, everybody? Tom here with Keto Lifestyle, and today we are talking about refeeds. Now, I've been avoiding this topic for a little while because there are some good refeeds and some bad refeeds. But trust me when I say, guys, I have done them all, and I'm going to walk you through what I think you should and should not be doing when it comes to refeeds. So let's start by saying that there are two kinds of refeeds that I'm going to talk about in this video. The first kind is a caloric refeed, and the second kind is a carb refeed. Now, I have done them both. I've done everything that I'm going to talk about in this video, whether it be good or bad, and this is literally my experience and what I think you should and should not be doing to give you the optimal keto diet. So to start things off, we're going to talk about what I really think you should be doing, and this is a calorie refeed. Now, when we're cutting, we are in deficits, right, guys? We are, 500 calories below maintenance, something like that. And eventually what happens is your body starts to realize, like, okay, well, I'm only getting 500 calories below what I think I need, so that is going to become the new what I need. And it's a very slow process, and sometimes this happens because you're losing weight, so your body needs less calories. Sometimes your body's just very adaptive and decides, you know what, I only need how many calories they're giving me. And when this happens, you're going to have to do one of two things. You're going to have to cut your calories even further, or you're going to have to do a calorie refeed. Now, cutting your calories is a valid option, and you can do this from time to time, but what happens when you get so low that you don't want to cut it any further? That's when it's time for a calorie refeed. Now, I typically do this once a month, regardless of if I'm keep dropping my calories or not. But what I'll do is I'll pick a day and I'll say, okay, I'm going to eat my maintenance, maybe 10 to 20% over my maintenance calories that day. If you don't know how to find your maintenance calories, I'm going to link it right here in the card. I did a whole video about finding your macros. It's going to be in there. But basically what you're going to do is you're going to try to trick your body into thinking, okay, I can get the amount of calories that I think I need. So one day, and it is scheduled. That is the thing about a refeed. This is planned, scheduled. It is not a day where you just go on a binge. This is a day where you are going to maintain your keto macros, but you're going to hit 10 to 20% above your maintenance calories. So how often should you do it? Well, I just said I do it about once a month. I'll pick a Saturday and I'll say, okay, I'm going to keep keto macros, but I'm going to go over my calories. But this kind of is a factor depending on your body fat. If you're 50% body fat, you might not have to do this as often. Your body's going to be more apt to losing weight. Even if your calories are dropping, that's okay, because for most of us, the amount of calories you have to be eating to maintain a 50% body fat is so far over the average maintenance that it might be okay for a while. Once you start getting into like the 25-30% body fat is really when you kind of have to start thinking about this. Now again, my recommendation is when you're in that 25 to 30% body fat, maybe once a month, maybe once every other month, and as you get lower, it'll become more often, So as I get through this cut that I'm on currently, if I'm down to like 10% body fat, I'm probably going to start doing it every other week. I've even heard people saying that once you're in the 7-8% range and you're still trying to cut, you need to do it every week. I can't confirm or deny that because I've never been that lean, but I'll let you guys know when I get to that point. As I've mentioned many times on this channel, my body is a giant experiment. I am willing to try different things just to see what works, or just trying to gather more data because there isn't a ton of data in the keto community. Now, let's talk about the second type of refeed, and this is probably going to be the longer conversation, and this is carb refeeds. Should you do them? Probably not. Can you do them? Yeah. Have I done them? Yeah. So, I have mixed feelings about this because a scheduled carb refeed is not necessarily a bad thing. I've actually got myself stuck in plateaus, done a big carb refeed, come back and dropped a ton of weight the next week. It's totally possible for this to benefit you. But for some of you guys, the risks of this are going to totally outweigh the rewards, and there are very specific circumstances when I think this is a good option. Let's talk about why this is a bad option first. Well, there is a such thing as the cyclical ketogenic diet. So it means you're going to be doing this in cycles. So what most people do is they will take 6 days and be keto. On day 7, they'll eat a bunch of carbs, and their fats are going to be low, but their carbs are going to be really high. And then come the next day, they're going to be back on keto. A lot of people do this for, muscle gain, things like that. I've really personally never seen any benefit to it. And this is coming from me, a person who did a cyclical ketogenic diet for probably 6 months, maybe a year. When I first started keto, whether it was planned or not is a different story, but I probably drink a little bit on the weekend that had sugar in it, I'd eat some pizza, and it would be my binge day, and that right there is the problem. I was having horrible weight loss results initially because I would just treat it as a binge day. I would say, okay, well, I'm gonna have whatever the heck I want this day. It'd be wake up in the morning, donuts and cereal. For lunch, it'd be McDonald's or nachos. For dinner, it'd be some pasta. Like, it was an excessive amount of calories, an excessive amount of carbs. And this started off as, okay, it'll happen when I wake up in the morning, and then I'll stop when I go to bed at night. And then it started drifting. Well, maybe I'll start this Friday night and I'll give myself, 28 hours. So what's the big deal? And then it starts drifting, you know what, maybe I'll just cross over into Sunday and get back on it Monday. So now you see the problem, right? I've only got 5 days on keto and I've got 2 days where I'm not. And then you just kind of start expanding it and all of a sudden your whole ketogenic diet's blown. Now this could be an extreme circumstance, but that's what happened to me and what I've seen happen to a lot of the people that I coach. Now, let's get into a little bit of the benefits of a carbohydrate refeed. Well, first of all, you're gonna shock your system. Your body's gonna go, whoa, 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 what are these things? What's going on here? Now that's a good thing because freaking your body out can actually have some great results in terms of weight loss. So in the long run, you may end up losing weight. So you're gonna put on 5 pounds the next day probably from all the glycogen that's stored in your system. But as you pull that glycogen and water out, what I've noticed is I will continue to go past the point where I was when I did that refeed. So I will actually lose like another pound or 2 if I do this targeted. Now if I just go on a straight bender, I mean, we're talking like a week, maybe 2 weeks of trying to get back in ketosis. You guys saw what happened to me when I came back from Ireland, right? I mean, I was 2 weeks of just eating like crap. I was up 13 pounds. Now, did I take it off very quickly? Yes, but it took 2 weeks, and do you really want to have that happen to you? Another thing to consider is you're gonna feel like crap when you eat carbs. I mean, that is my big reason for staying true to a ketogenic diet and not cheating on it very often, if I do ever, because I just feel like garbage. That food sounds really good, but you get to a point with this diet where you're like, yeah, I know that sounds good, but the way it's gonna make me feel is not even anywhere near worth the taste in my mouth. So keep that in mind. Now let's talk about cheating on keto or doing a carb refeed for the sake of just wanting carbs or wanting some special treat for yourself. Treat it as a treat. Don't treat this as a refeed day like some people try to tell you to do. I want you to take those days where you say, you know what, it's my birthday, it's Valentine's Day, and I'm gonna have some chocolate cake. Take that as a treat. Anytime in life where, there's an accomplishment you're celebrating, it's okay to have a treat. But don't blow it out of proportion. You have a slice of cake with your dinner. That's okay. I mean, yes, there's carbs in there, but it's not an exorbitant amount. But when you blow the whole day and you eat 5, 6, 7, 800 carbs, that's when things are gonna be an issue. But treating yourself every now and again is very different than a scheduled refeed. So I say, hey, every 3, 4 months, whatever it may be, have some carbs, treat yourself, that's okay. If you want to. If you don't and you can stick true to this lifestyle, then hey, that's awesome for you, more power to you. I know myself personally, on big days, birthdays, Valentine's Day, family holidays, I will tend to slip up a little bit, but I know what I'm doing and I'm not going to go so overboard that it severely affects me. So let's wrap this up by kind of giving my overall opinion of all the different types of refeeds. So first things first, calorie refeeds, because that's what we talked about first in this video. I think they're a fantastic tool and you need to do them every once in a while to stop your body from falling into the state where it gets used to being in a deficit, right? So maybe, depending on your body fat percentage, anywhere from once a week to once every couple months, you're gonna wanna go just over your maintenance calories by like 10 or 20% for one day and then get right back into your deficit. You could see some insane weight loss just off of that. Now, carb refeeds. Can you do them? Yes. Are they gonna help you out in the gym? Maybe, it depends on your body. But I really don't recommend that unless you are following a cyclical ketogenic diet. And the reason that I really don't like a cyclical ketogenic diet is because it's so easy to start expanding that time frame where you're eating carbs that you could eventually just knock yourself out of your diet altogether. And lastly, those binge days where you just want to treat yourself and have carbs. Guys, it's not a refeed, it's a treat. Treat it as such, enjoy yourself, but keep it to a rarity. But with that, guys, I'm going to close out the video. If you like the video, leave it a like. If you have not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for, guys? Come on, it helps me out, it helps you out, and at the end of the day, I do this for you. But with that, I'll see you guys in the next one.